Wade is guarding Bryant. Artest looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer. Banks it in! He banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
Boom, baby. What is going on, Insurance Syndicate? You know what time it is. It is 9 a.m. Central. We are here for Winning on Wednesday live in Syndicate HQ. Thank you guys so much for tuning in every single week to the show. Let me know in the comments that you can hear and see me, and also where you're tuning in from. What's up, Ashley? What's up, Jessica, Austin? I think that's probably Austin, but you're watching on your wife's profile. What's up, Lily? I see you in there. JR, my man, good to see you on here, guys. Again, let me know that you can hear and see me in the comments and where you're tuning in from. We have an action-packed show for y'all. I'm really excited to have our guest on. You guys can probably see in the description. You guys have seen him probably on Ultimate Agent. You've seen him just start to circulate around the forums. So we have an awesome show for you guys. We're really excited to have him on. But as always, real quick before we get going, shout out to Viva Virtual Solutions. They are the main sponsor of the show. You see Lily Davies there in the comments. What up, Hanky? I see you. But you see Lily there in the comments. We could not do everything that we do here within the syndicate just without all of her help with the group management, the moderation, the publishing, the editing, the clipping, and then ultimately through Viva's main source of virtual assistance on the insurance side. So shout out to Rob Lopez. You guys have heard me talk about them enough. They are seriously, hands down, like I have nothing but amazing things to say about partnering with them. So if you are in the market for a virtual assistant, highly recommend you check out Viva Virtual Solutions. Again, they are the main sponsor of the show and our main preferred vendor here within the Insurance Syndicate. So, guys, like I said, we have an action-packed show, but you know what time it is, right? It's 9 a.m. So I guess it's a little bit after 9 a.m. Central. But it's time to start dropping those weekly wins in the comments. I don't care how big or how small, we want to be able to celebrate you. It's Winning on Wednesday. Drop those weekly wins in the comments. Even if you're catching the replay, we will circle back to you. Man, my weekly win, y'all. Some of you guys have probably seen on my personal profile now, and again, maybe just in some of the groups in my new business partnership with Ryan Stuman. So if you guys don't know Ryan, he's here obviously in the group, and then he runs Apex. And so Apex is a business mastermind group. It's outside of just insurance people, but there are insurance people in there. And just have recently got involved in Apex. I say recently, it's been over a year now. But then ultimately we ended up partnering and starting an insurance agency together called Closer Coverage. Everything is all still within Clearview, so everything is still complimentary and flowing. Just an amazing business opportunity, and we're rocking and rolling here in the last couple of weeks. So it's been a lot of fun. My weekly win is the fact that I get to have Ryan Stuman on my team meetings, like for our weekly meetings and our morning meetings. So yesterday we had our weekly team meeting and just talking through some CRM changes, and just, again, some of the stuff, some of the hurdles when you go to start a new company and everything's going to be amazing, and then shit hits the fan, and it is just what it is. But having him on that team meeting yesterday, it was just such a great meeting. We've got a new campaign that we're rolling out for saving Christmas and what we're going to do to help homeowners save money on their insurance. I mean, we've got this whole thing set up. And so that is definitely my weekly win, is literally a morning meeting. But when you have those meetings packed with the right people, they can really just, again, propel you into an amazing day. So again, yesterday was an awesome day, but it kickstarted with that morning meeting with Ryan Stuman. So Ryan, if you're watching this, appreciate you, brother. I'm excited to be doing business with you officially now. So, guys, like I said, we have an action-packed show for you today. You guys may have seen him on the Ultimate Agent show as well through Cody Askins. Again, you may have just seen him starting to circulate around the shows and on the forums because the dude is an absolute freaking stud and a multi-million-dollar freaking producer in his first freaking year, and he's recruiting, and I mean, he's just a machine. I've been following him, and I had to hit him up to get him on the show. So without further ado, everybody give a nice warm welcome to Mr. Dylan Crane. What's going on, my man?
Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Did you like the little, I know you're a ball player, so did you like the little Kobe piece to start?
Yeah, honestly, it kind of threw me back to just starting lineups and, kind of getting going. So, man, if I could get introduced like that or kind of get welcome like that every time, man, I'd pay for that probably.
I love it, man. Well, dude, for anybody that hasn't maybe started to follow you or hadn't seen Ultimate Agent or all the shows and stuff that you've been on recently, just give them a 30,000 foot overview. Who's Dylan? Kind of, what you up to, what are you doing, and then ultimately we'll kind of get into more of the strategic stuff that you have going, the discipline that you have built into your business. But again, just let them know a little bit who you are.
Yeah, for sure. So, man, just started in insurance probably about 15 months ago and really set the ground running. Before that, I played professional basketball, had my own basketball training business, and I had a crazy story that completely changed my wife and I's life. We had a daughter, and then she had a major health condition, and that really got me into insurance. So that really changed everything for me. So from there, we started in essentially insurance roughly after we moved down to Houston, Texas, which is where we're at now. And since that time, since starting insurance, I've done over $2 million in sales in 15 months, and growing a very, very large team, and really just looking to set the insurance game on fire and change the standard for what the future is going to look like, not only for myself and my team, but for really the entire industry. And then from there, I have some larger goals. So I'm excited about what the future is going to bring, and really looking forward to obviously how we're growing and how we're moving throughout, especially these past 15 months.
I love it, bro. I love it. Obviously, you can see. I literally just said, I'm like, man, when everything's just supposed to be going great and it doesn't. Having some camera issues, so I'm going to ask you a question. You go. I'll fix my camera and then I'll be right back. Okay. But again, take us back. Right. So I was a ball player, and then I ultimately played lacrosse in college. Didn't ever go to the pro level or anything. Did some like semi-pro box stuff. But lacrosse was my sport. But again, going back to, just being raised in that environment, right, and what that instilled in me at a very early age when it came to that discipline piece. Can you talk through, again, maybe some of that before we get into the insurance piece of like, how young did that start? When did that drive and that determination kind of start for you as far as like, man, I want to take this thing to the next level?
Yeah.
And maybe, again, how do you take that and apply that to your agency now?
Sure, yeah, of course. So I'm going to run for a little bit, and Joe, when I see it pop back up, then I'll kind of let you jump back in. So, so sports, I don't know if you could drop a comment in the comment section about if you've played sports before, because I need to know who I'm speaking to as far as my sports people, because this is going to really, really resonate with you. If you haven't played sports, think of something you're passionate about, hobby, habit, something that you do that is important to you, okay? And we can even use insurance, but for sake of example, let's use something else, okay? So when I started playing basketball, I started at probably third grade, okay? I didn't really start getting very, very serious about it until about seventh grade. And there was one thing that hit for me, okay? I asked my dad one summer, it was around like summer before seventh grade. And I'm like, Dad, why is my shot off? So, I'm shooting, why is my shot off, Dad? I was like, oh. He's like, well, son, did you practice? And I'm like, no. So at that point, like everything clicked for me at that point. Like it was as simple as that. That's all I needed, as a sixth grader going into the seventh grade, being a normal kid playing video games, just playing basketball, sometimes practicing. My friends were over, but when he said, son, did you practice? And I'm like, no, everything clicked. So I was like, you're telling me that the more that I practice, the better I'm going to get. And then everything clicked. So at that point, I've lived by the motto of like, it's all it was. It was literally just light bulb moment. It's all it was. So like, I knew that if I spent more time like working than everyone else, I'd make more money. And then I knew if I spent more time practicing basketball than everyone else, I'd ultimately get really, really, really good and then better than my competition. So then the same thing I applied to insurance. I'm like, okay, so you're telling me that I just had to find a field that if I worked a little bit harder and then practiced my skills and then got better than everyone else, I can make more money and do better things and then set this industry on fire than anyone else. So I'm like, okay, light bulb went off. It's the same thing. So I just needed to find the industry, and then insurance just ended up being that industry for me. And whatever industry you're in, You might be in PNC or in whatever it is. If you played a sport, like imagine if you just practiced a little bit more.
Right.
Where would you actually be? Would you be pro? Would you be college? I don't know. Would you start on your team? I don't know, but that's your decision.
So, but like, okay, I have to go right here though, because I mean, dude, you've written like over 1.3 million in your first 12 months. I mean, how did you compact? Because again, when we're talking about practice and professional athletes, that's years of practice that is built up over time to where you can play at the professional level.
Sure.
I mean, how did you get so much practice like so compact into where you're already? Because again, now you're playing at the pro level if you're doing over 7 figures in your freaking first 12 months. So
yeah,
how the hell? I mean, was it just, dude, I'm like nonstop practicing these scripts. I'm nonstop doing role play. I'm staying up. I'm up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to bed at 1 a.m. Like, because I mean, you've excelled so freaking fast in a very short period of time.
Yeah. No, it was literally my first week. I remember telling one of my mentors, I'm like, dude, this isn't working. So, and then let me take it back to just, normal level here. My very first week, I purchased like $100 worth of leads, and they were like, I don't know, they're like, I got like 300 leads. They're like 40 cents or 30 cents or whatever it was. And I ended up selling 8K off of like 30, 40 cent leads. And I thought that was terrible. Okay. So I thought that was terrible. So I was like, dude, this isn't working. I'm not making enough money. I'm working harder. Like, I feel like I should be making more money. So then I just doubled it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to double my investment. I'm going to spend more money. And I was frustrated at the end of the first week. And then second of all, I just practiced more. So yeah, literally after I got done dialing, I didn't have enough. I didn't have enough time zones at that point as far as like being able to dial and work more hours. So what I did was I got more time zones. So I got a Hawaii license, I got an Alaska license, and I got a West Coast, like a Washington license. So that way I could dial to like 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 a.m. So, but before I did that though, I was literally role playing and practicing my skills as much as I possibly could. Like, and I think a lot of people like hear an objection and they're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll practice that or I'll record it. Right. Well, no, I didn't just hear the objection. Like I made the person I was practicing with stay on with me, and until it was perfect, then I let him leave. That's the 0.0001% of people out there that don't do that. Everyone else just hears the objection, eventually gets it. I perfected it within like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Now, mind you, I've done sales for the past 15 years. I started my own business at 15 years old. Okay. So I've been used to talking to people, grew up in church. Like I know how to handle and talk to people and so forth. But yeah, at the same time, I was like, okay, I knew if I were to be a pro at this and perfect this, I had to practice more than everyone else, and I had to work harder than everyone else. So I just put more activity early. And then obviously the 15 years before that really set me up for success, obviously going into insurance. So
I agree. I think that was for me too. I mean, I've been in sales or really just working since I was in like second grade. I mean, I was a paper boy trying to get tips, and it's like I remember getting like a quarter and they're like, don't spend it all in one place. And I'm like, okay. But I think, that those experiences, I ran a farmer's market. I was selling pulled pork. The reason I'm saying all that is sales is just a talk path, right? So again, give me the talk path, but then here's where I see agents fall off. Again, sitting in the seat, I listen to a lot of calls, right? I'm even partnered with a call company. So I hear tons of other people's freaking calls, even outside of my organization. And it's like, they've got the script, like they have the talk path, and it's like, but they don't practice it enough. And you can tell when they get on that call, or it's like, whoa, like they were not prepared. Right. And it's like everything they knew what to say and how to overcome an objection is like, boom. And
it's the same thing in basketball. If I'm coming downhill and I'm coming off pick and roll, and let's say the guy hedges, and I gotta know the reads. The people are going to freeze, or they're going to get the ball stolen, or they're going to pass it off. So it's the same exact thing. You might not be prepared or have practiced that situation live enough, right? But I think it goes beyond scripts though, because we can give you the greatest scripts on the planet. And how many times have we given someone a script that they, number one, don't follow it, they don't even read it, and then they sound like a dead doornail. We just don't, we can't really train that. So then after that, within the script comes a lot of skills. And then how many times, if you're running a play in basketball, that play isn't perfect.
Right.
A script is a skeleton to ultimately get you to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So we got to be able to break off that skeleton. And a lot of people don't really view it that way. And that's why they never make more money. They're just kind of set where they're at, or they never end up getting to the level they want to go.
So I want to just point this out because I have this conversation a lot. It was the game changer for me. I love that you already went here. Was the multi-resident or the non-resident licenses that changed everything for me and my company? Again, I know I'm property and casualty. He's selling. It doesn't matter though. It's the ability to sell across the entire country, right? And for me, it was when I came over because I was a captive Allstate guy. It was, man, give me every single freaking carrier in the state of Texas. If it can be insured, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
And you just become the yes man so fast, and you spread yourself so freaking thin, saying yes to any and everything in Texas. When it was like, when the light bulb moment went off of like, oh shoot, I don't need all the carriers in one state. I need the best carriers in all the freaking states.
Yeah.
And so the reason I love that you even brought this up too is because now, honestly, it makes me think about Kobe when when you look at how many more hours he spent shooting those shots, right, and practicing, and the accumulation of those. Same thing as when you're picking up the phone and dialing. How much better does Dylan get, or how much better do I get, or how much better does anybody get if they can sell in all the different freaking time zones and start selling at freaking 7 a.m. and go until 12 or 1? But that is the piece. You said it as the 0.001%, right? It's like people will not do that, even though we have the ability to go pick up a freaking non-resident license, and in 48 hours, I'm damn near able to sell it.
Yeah.
Talk through that. What was your mindset behind going and getting multi-state licensed? Was that just something, hey, mentor told me this, so that's why I went out and got them? Or did you have a strategic approach as to, outside of maybe just the time zones, what made you really want to be able to sell across the entire country?
Well, I just wanted to work more.
Yeah.
I just wanted to work more. And and I wanted to make more money. It was like they didn't show everything on The Ultimate Agent. I wish they did, but there was like every night where I was the only one in the office. And I was there till like 2, 3 a.m. Like I literally had a 10 or a 6K AP app like at 2 a.m. in the morning in Hawaii. Everyone showed up and they're like, "What the frick?" Like I was the head like 3K, and then they showed up the next, like when everyone left, and then I was like now at 15K, or I was ahead now 9K. So I just kind of blew up the waters. But I'm like, okay, the formula is simple. If I just work more hours and make more money, and then if I make more money, ultimately I'm going to separate myself from the competition. So I just knew that I wanted to work harder and work more, and that was an easy way of doing it. It was like, I've never been a part of an industry before that you could sell at 2 a.m. I've made over $100,000 at 2 a.m. Like that's in insurance. That's the wildest thing to me.
What so I guess what would be your encouragement, or I guess I'm trying to get a little bit more educational here, just for any, because I think that's part of it too, is like people think they're, oh crap, man, it's a new state. And I get if you're doing like Medicare and more on the health side of things, I get where that can kind of change and vary. But I know for me on the property and casualty side, and I believe for the most part on the life side, I mean, there's not too much of a difference, right? For us, it's like, well, it's a guest medical state, or it's a personal injury state. Like, I mean, so I think that's what kind of scares people, is they think it's going to be a ton different, but the same way that I quote in Texas is damn near the same as how I quote up in the Midwest, right? So maybe can you talk through on the life side? So speaking specific to a life agent that is interested in getting multi-states, just educate them real quick. How do you go about it? What would you tell them to do?
Yeah, sure. So you just go through NIPR and you just purchase a license. That's first step. If you don't do that, then you can't get the license. And then second of all, I just don't. Everyone talks about how great these states are and like the different type of people and like you're going to speak to in each state. Man, I just come to the point, like I've the same objection I'm getting in Pennsylvania is the same objection I'm getting in Hawaii. Like there's no different. You're not speaking to any different people. People are people. And ultimately, if you understand how to sell and you understand how to dig into the emotion of the client, then ultimately, and you relate with them, then ultimately they're going to buy with you. And it doesn't matter who you are, what state you're in, if you're from Georgia or you're from California, it doesn't matter. You just got to put in the work, put in the time, get better at sales, and that's all it is. So I don't think it's that difficult. I think we make it more complicated than what it is personally.
I do. Honestly, I remember I'm not on the phones as much. I'm still on the phones, y'all. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not sitting in the sales seat anymore, right? We got the team and everything, and I'm the funnel and I'm the headhunter. But like when I remember sitting on the phone, I almost would take it as a challenge, like because I mean, I've got this weird like Southern. I was born in Texas, but grew up in Indiana, and now I'm back in Texas. And I have this weird like Texas Southern, like Midwestern accent. Yeah. But then we were selling all up in the Northeast. So I'd be calling into like Maryland and like these New York guys. And it was like, I'd almost take it as a challenge to try to kind of meet them where they're at. Right. Cause they definitely didn't like how I talked to them, like, oh, Miss Susie, you know what I'm saying? So How do you take that skeleton, right? We're talking about practice and that play. It doesn't always go well. But again, at least you've got that. How do you build in that? I think what you were saying, here's where the real magic happens, is that relationship piece that you build into the skeleton, but still trying to follow the play, but at the same time build that relationship and that rapport.
Yeah.
Talk through how you do that.
That's fun. So my framework for every single person is always the same. It's the same thing over and over again. I break it down into 4 different ways. I break it down into discovery. I break it down into why. I break it down into objection handling, and then I break it down into the close. Right. So those are my 4 kind of. And on my Instagram, I'm actually going through all those things, and you guys can see all my live sales. I've started posting a little bit more about that. So I break it down in those 4 different categories. But the 2 things that will change will depend on the age of the person I'm talking to, and then how they talk. Okay, so if they're from the South, they're going to talk a little bit different. If they're from the North, they're going to talk a little bit different. If they're from the West, they might be a little bit more yappy, and then it just depends on the person. So I have to relate with that person. So I was born and raised in Huntsville, Alabama, and they talk real Southern. I can talk Southern, so there's sometimes I might do a sale Southern, right? I might change my accent, if you will. Now, everyone else, I haven't really found a greater accents outside of New York, and I can throw in some jabs in there depending on the person. But, the same framework, but I'm just going to change my posture. I might talk a little lower and slower with someone that's older, and I might talk a little faster with someone that's potentially my age, that you can tell they're just busy and they just got things to do and so forth. So you got to, again, meet the people where they're at, but they also have to be keen enough to understand where someone's at and their personality is, and where they need to be met on in order, obviously, to create a relationship with them, and then realize their situation, and then they'll buy from you.
Yep. And you guys know how you do that? You use these things. you just listen to them, man. It's like, I feel a lot of agents go in there and just ready to ram insurance down their throat, man. It's like you'll never meet them where they're at if you're not actually listening to them, right? I mean, it's one of the most underranked or undervalued skills in sales, yet it's the main thing that helps you close deals, is actually listening to them.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think I posted this again on my Instagram, was like the other day, we don't realize like the light bulbs that are technically like objections when we're talking to people, right? So for instance, if someone, there's just one example. If someone says, hey, I have life insurance already and I'm selling them mortgage protection, okay, like that would be an objection, but we don't realize that. We just kind of skip over it and then don't acknowledge it. And then we're wondering at the end why they said they wanted to think about it. Like, okay, well, you just missed over one key component that you didn't listen to the person. But there's so many potential negatives in the call that we don't dig into. And every single time we have to stop, address it, and then we can start moving back through the script. And that's the problem with the script. We, follow it too much, and we never get outside of it, treat it as a skeleton, and then obviously get better. So
yeah, like make it make it your own, right? Like, hey, here's the framework or the skeleton, as we're calling it, and then but you gotta kind of work into that and make it your own. Let's shift to products. What all are you selling? You're not just selling one product. You're not just a final expense guy. So talk through what all you're selling, and then maybe even the why behind why you're selling the certain products outside of you want to work and make money, which I love. But.
Yeah. First, let's see. First year, I literally just did mortgage protection. Okay. So literally just did mortgage protection, did 1,000, I think it was like 355 apps or something in 1 year, and pretty much just did that. Okay. And then after, at about the 10-month mark, then I transitioned into doing IBCs. We help assist people with getting out of debt, do IULs, and then do annuities. So I've transitioned into a little bit more of that. And then I started to think the next thing, I'm like, okay, in order to maximize profitability, I'm like, what if I just did the same thing with advanced markets as I did with mortgage protection, set 40 to 50 appointments a week. And then now I'm going to essentially quadruple my money,
if not more,
and produce, to work the same amount of hours. And then obviously get to the point where I don't have to. So I'm just like, man, and that really, that breaches into another topic, but that's really enhanced my ability to obviously make more money, but now teach, because there's so many people out there that when you join an IMO or when you're joining a captive agency, you're joining under a mentor, but you're joining under someone that's never been there and done what you want to do. Right. So I'm like, okay, if I can learn all these different products, and that way I can teach everyone else to do it. And then that ultimately not only allows me to build my company, how big I want to build it, because there's this thing out there called the law of the lid. The higher your lid is, no one can ever, for instance, you can have 300 people doing $258,000 in a month because I've done it, right? If no one's ever done it, it's like saying, hey, I want to go to the NBA, but then you hired a trainer that's never played high school basketball or college basketball, or even got professional, then your agency is never going to grow to that level. So anyway, so I realized that in order for me to be able to teach all these people in my agency to grow, I had to be knowledgeable in all these products. And then second of all, I want a lot of people to run a lot of business. So then it helps them, helps me. It's one kind of working machine.
It's like one of the main things I bring up if I'm on like I don't even call them recruiting calls anymore because we don't run ads or anything for like people but on the PNC side, I mean, it's a $30,000 franchise, like just to start with me, right? So conversations are different, right? Versus, hey, if you're licensed, then I'll give you a shot type thing. So, but I love getting on those calls because I'm technically a corporate guy. I don't know. Everybody obviously knows me in the group, but like anybody that I'm ever on a call with, I'm like, you guys can obviously tell, like, probably the least corporate dude you'll ever meet. Technically I am. But it's, I talk to them, I'm like, man, have you ever sat across, right, or been on a call with a guy that's telling you what to do or how to do it? And it's like, brother, have you ever done this? It's like, just the typical corporate suit telling you to sell more policies. And it's like, oh, dude, you don't even have a license, do you, man? Like, so I love that you say that. Do it. I wrote it down. Do it before you teach it. There's a lot of people teaching shit that they ain't ever done, man. There's a lot of that in this industry.
100%. And they're just saying, hey, just write it. Just write it. I'm like, dude, do you realize if you're telling someone to write, like let's just call it a $800,000 annuity and just write it, you're going to end up with like a 70 grand chargeback.
Right.
And now like that's another problem is like people like these uplines that think they're just making a lot of money, which they might be at the time, they're going to end up in 100 grand to 200 grand in debt. Like, and then they're going to completely get out of the insurance industry. And then now that's what screws insurance. It's so great. It helps families. And at the same time, it obviously helps you. But if you get a mentor and they have no idea what the heck they're doing, just based off maybe the Rolex they have, the car that they're loaning, there's no way in the world you're going to make it, and you're going to end up knee deep in chargebacks.
Have you gone through any of that yet, or is that something you're kind of seeing in your 15 months that you've been in? Is like, man, I've just seen a lot of that, and it sucks, but it.
I have. I'm thankful I have a great mentor that kind of just taught me the ropes, and I'm under a great organization.
Who's your mentor?
His name's Ashton Delangalunde.
Oh, okay. Okay. I love Ashton, bro. Okay, cool.
And underneath Edward Pritchett,
yep.
Obviously he has an 80 million, almost $100 million agency. So pretty, large agency. So two great mentors that I specifically have, or at least direct to me. So, or not direct to me, but I'm underneath. So, so he taught me like, hey, book appointments. That's another topic we could probably touch on. And then, hey, here's how we handle objections and how to really get people to buy from us. And then ultimately, that's helped me kind of develop a framework. And then I just really started to figure out the game because I had a 92% persistency rating after the first year.
Wow.
I've met so many people within the first year that literally they're getting a chargeback every single day after the policy they just wrote yesterday. And so it's a major problem. Like I've had guys that come to me with 15 grand in debt, and they're just like, this guy just told me to one call close on an IUL. I'm like, what the like it's
I was getting ready to ask you that before. All right. So before we get into the actual appointment booking and the close, and I love that the discovery, the why, the objection handling, and the close. Also too, you guys, you've heard him reference his Instagram and stuff. It is in the description. So if you guys want to go follow him, just click. All his links and handles are up there for you guys to follow. Also, I'm seeing you guys commenting here. If you guys have any questions, we can totally answer them live on the show. So don't hesitate to ask. What's up, Steve? A Division I swimmer many years ago. I think I knew that about you because you're still coaching. Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. So thoughts on the IUL? I felt like it was, and I really like it. I think if it's structured correctly and it's not, there's so many different structures out there, I guess. But if you do it correctly, it's a good freaking product, right? But it was like this influencer hot streak of like IUL, and then so many people did it wrong that I feel like there's almost now a negative connotation to the Index Universal Life policy, especially with all the Kyle Busch shit going on, and like, who knows what that's potentially going to evolve into. But again, I mean, it was an IUL and it was poorly written, and that's like, okay, that happens. What are your thoughts on the IUL? Just curious.
I really do think it's a great product, but the problem is, again, agents get to go greedy and they don't structure for the client,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's always my biggest thing. If you have any intention in a sale to not help the client first, all right, and then for you to make more money, it's going to come back to bite you every single time, right? And a lot of times we get real greedy because the amount of money we want to make initially, but at the same time, it's gonna come back to bite. It's gonna end up a chargeback and a lawsuit in this case. You might get sued, and there's a lot of other things around it. But I think IUL is a really good product. You just it's a financial product that you cannot one call close.
Right.
So if you are at one call closing and someone's teaching you out there to an IUL, the one call close, if you want your life to be screwed, that is a great way to do it. So please don't do it.
Mm-hmm. What's your approach to that? And then we'll get into kind of how you're setting appointments and everything. But for, like, let's say specific to an IUL, what's your approach to that conversation? Why should it be, a 2 or 3 sitter? How are you uncovering what you need to uncover to structure it the way that you would, structure it?
Well, I think it comes down. It can potentially ask at a 401k. It can act as that, right? So I mean, obviously, the great thing about it is, obviously, if we pull out money from our 401k, you're going to get hit with a 10% hit, or there's some companies out there that you can loan, obviously, against the 401k. Now you got to pay it back, but I don't know the interest rate on the loan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with a IUL, okay, is there's a death benefit attached to it. So if you were to pass away before the age of 59 and a half, then you're going to get that, and your family's not going to suffer from it. So I think that's large in part, which is very ideal. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of, like, let's say we have $500,000 in our 401k, we had no life insurance, period. And then now your family's essentially screwed if they pass away 20 and 59 and a half. Okay.
Right.
Before. Okay. It happens all the time. Actually, I hear it every day on my calls. So I think it's a great product. And second of all, it might not be as volatile or potentially make as much money as a 401k, but it's still protecting you in other world. So it's like you're always taught as a business person or someone that has money to have a diverse portfolio. I think it is something to add to your portfolio. Personally, I have one myself. I've actually used one to be able to, contract money for my daughter in her college when she were to get. So I think it's a great investment tool. I don't think you should put all your eggs in one basket, by no means. But at the same time, for an IUL to work properly, you have to build it properly. Make sure you're structuring a lot towards going to cash instead of, obviously, the life benefit. But I think it can be a great product as long as it's structured correctly.
Yeah, 100% agreed. How old's your daughter?
3.
3? Dude, I got a 6-year-old, all girls too. I got a 6-year-old, almost 4, 1-year-old, and then I've got a 4th due in April, bro.
Busy house.
Dude, it's madness, bro. Starting 1st grade, and they're units too, man. Just some big ass kids. I was like hoping I was gonna get a Joe Jr. It's like, nah, just big girls, bro. Let me ask you this. I just want to ask, how important is family in your driver into what you do on a daily basis? It's like everything for me, right? Like when I wake, I tell everybody, man, what keeps me up late and what wakes me up early in the morning and keeps me going is a lot of that is tied to, this family tree that I'm a big Ed Milet guy, right? Come from nothing. But at one point in time, the wealthy people, right, were not wealthy. And then the one came around. So it's like, I've got this whole, I'm trying to be the one, and I want to change my family tree and set up a legacy for them.
Yeah.
What is that to you? Is it everything for you as well?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it is. It's a constant drive for me. My family is everything. It's the reason why I do a lot of things for her. Since my daughter had a major health condition, I don't know what her life's going to look like. So personally, that's a major driver for me, and obviously building a great agency and making sure I keep my reputation very high, because ultimately I'm at the top. The reflection of me is ultimately going to be what my daughter's future is going to look like. Right. So I want to make sure that every single person I bring into my organization is going to uphold that, because one day my daughter might be over that. She's going to be a good businesswoman. Right. But that's a huge driver for me. But second of all, I mean, that is everything to me. That's why I do things. But then, this is something I am a Christian. This is something I feel like God's called me to do, but I want to be the best. Like, I feel like in order, every single day I wake up, my drive is to be the best. That means as a business owner, that means my body, that means how I carry myself, how I speak, how I drive a car, right? All these things that I want to be the best, and that's what I feel like God's called me to do, and that's something I try to live up to daily.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I'm actually I'm going through my devotion. I just given main message to you. I'm involved with youth at my church, and was just talking about what we are called to be, or what and how we're called to act and things like that, and how it's some of those things, again, you just don't really overlook it, right? Or you do overlook it, excuse me, where it doesn't really matter, right? And it's like, well, like you brought up body. It was something I had to admit to the guys. I'm like, honestly, man, like I'm a freaking sinner with how I'm treating the temple of the Holy Spirit, brother. Like, I mean, what I'm doing to this body, man. And it's like the stress. And then so a big thing for me has been my diet, being active, right? Working out again and making sure I'm taking care of my body, because that, I mean, health is wealth, right? I know we've all heard that too, but in order for us to be able to perform at a high level, dude, we gotta take care of the temple, man. It's funny that you bring that up. I need to be the best when it comes to this. I'm working on it. Go ahead.
You have to. I mean, how can you expect your organization, or even you, like your clients, like let's say if you're not building an organization, how can you expect them to ultimately buy from you? And then if you're going to lead them, how are they going to follow you if you're not treating yourself as such? There's no way in the world. I mean, it's like I always sometimes I got really choked up about, but Andy Elliott, I wouldn't say it's someone I look up to, but it's someone that I like some of the videos he puts out. He never really explains the morals behind why he says things, but he talked about like, hey, if you don't have a six pack in my organization, then you're fired. Okay, well, why is that? I've never talked to Andy Elliott before, so that's a disclaimer. But I know why he does it. The reason why he does it is because like he wants his organization to look top of the line. Like he wants every single employee that comes into, they're going to work out, they're going to try to be best version of themselves. If they treat themselves with high standards, then ultimately his agency is going to perform properly, and then they're going to perform properly as well. So I think it's a great standard to have. It's just he doesn't really explain it and it comes across like you're a major jerk.
You got 30 seconds to get the message across on that reel, brother. I've been out there. I hit him up because I was trying. Honestly, there was a lot. My agency got sold and parents divorced after 30. I mean, there's a lot that went on there, and I just kind of was like in the rut, just going through the motion, still doing my thing. And I'm like, man, I just kind of need a freaking punch in the face, dude. And I'm like, Andy Elliott, I feel like can freaking deliver it. So I was hitting him up to get him on my podcast, and he's like, you got to come out and see me first. You come out and see me, then we'll talk about going on your podcast. Yeah. I'm like, all right, whatever. And I go out there, and dude, I'll tell you, man, Saturday night, I've been to a lot of conferences and events. This dude is running an event. So Saturday was the greatest workout, and it was like in this casino ballroom, right? So you're thinking, okay, it's at a casino. Like, I mean, oh no, dude, like they got a whole freaking workout station set up in there, and we're working out on Saturday night. It's the start of the event, right? And then the event itself is all day Sunday. I'm like, who is running an event all day freaking? You get out there, dude, speaking about his team and how they hold themselves. I mean, my Lord, man. And again, everybody kind of has their own thoughts and feelings and opinions on Andy, but they do run a tight freaking ship, man. I mean, it's almost kind of intimidating, but it's badass. Like, dude, if that was your team and his whole, the Elliott Army and standing up there, it's like, I mean, yeah, you guys all look pretty freaking good. And that is a reflection of the leader.
Yeah. We got larger goals that might be in store, but I don't know to that extent. But I mean, that's my mantra. It's like, hey, we're gonna wake up at 5 a.m. We're gonna get in that gym, get after it. We're gonna get our body moving. We're gonna get on the phones. We're gonna work. We're gonna dial. All the stuff, right? And that's how I live. But is that how I lead? Because how he leads is only a 0.00 like 1% of people in the U.S. or in the world, right? There's not a whole lot of people that are really like dialed into how they live life that way. So are you going to do you want your organization to be very large, or do you want to be very compact with certain people? It just depends on what you want.
That's good, dude. Hold on, I'm writing that down. How you lead. That's really good. Okay, so let's talk about appointments, booking appointments. What are you doing? What's your process? And then ultimately, I do want to talk about how you're freaking closing this much freaking business in your first 12. I know you're already past your 12 months. What are you 15 months or what's your total?
I started June 20th.
Okay.
So wherever that puts us right now. So
yeah. Okay. So you're right around the 18-month mark, getting close. Okay.
Yeah.
So appointments, what's the process? How do you, obviously, I've seen, if you guys haven't watched Ultimate Agent, go see it. You get to see Dylan be a freaking beast on that show. But what's the process behind it? Really just break it down. Let's talk about the skeleton. What would be the skeleton you'd give somebody to, hey, this is what you should at least try to run when booking appointments?
So you have your opener, right? The problem is with appointments, people say, hey, I'm at work. Okay, yeah, I'll call you back at 5. Okay, bye. That's like an appointment, right? That's, you're never going to get anyone to show up. So, so I break it down. Hey, I have my opener. And then the first thing that I do, because I don't like wasting my time, is I ask them like why we're here. Like, why did you do this? Right? I need to figure out why we're speaking on the phone currently. Okay. And then from there, I kind of go into my discovery of medical or some things about their situation a little bit. And then from there, I lock down the appointment. And I spend about 5 minutes like really locking down my appointment and making sure people are going to show up. So some key points, like I already mentioned, is like you got to uncover while we're on the phone. You got to verify that you're real. You got to give a realistic time of when the person's going to be at home, keyword, at home, not in the car, not at work, not doing something else. Okay.
Right.
At home. And then lastly, you got to make them value your time. If they don't value that and you don't give a realistic time, they're never going to show up. And that's why your show rate's so low. So those are like
you ever get antsy and like book an appointment in the same day, or do you always book it out a day or two?
Sometimes I might do same day. Just depends how busy I am. Depends what my schedule looks like. You know, if I'm running just basic life insurance or mortgage protection, you know, I'm going to probably book the same day. And then I want them like anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes apart. Okay. So I'll do it that way. And then just depends how many appointments I'm booking. Like this week I booked around, like I went back into mortgage protection just for content, like, and just because I have like very large visions for 2026. So I just for content, and then I just booked like 20 appointments off of like 30 leads. And then, you know, all of them have showed up. So, you know.
We like that, dude.
Makes it easy, right?
So, all right, we're talking production. I don't care anybody that's watching. Yeah, Steve too. I do love Ed Milet as well. So anybody that's watching, right? I don't care if you've been in 5 years, 10 years, or 1 month. It's okay to kind of reevaluate, regear, and start it back up now. So Dylan, in 12 months, what did you do in order to write over $1 million of premium?
That's always like one of the hardest questions because that's so detailed. There's so many.
Oh, I know, I'm sure. Well, and I'm sure there was a lot that goes into it. But like, if there was just, dude, this is what I did every freaking week, man. Even break it down to the week. You can go daily if you want, but like, this is what I did to freaking get that much issue paid premium. Sure.
Yeah. So it started off with a consistent investment each week. If I didn't have a consistent investment each week, there's no way in the world that I do what I do. Okay. So I had to invest the same amount of money each week. And for the number that's out there for you guys that are wondering like, hey, how in the world did I get this? Well, I invested around like $3,000 to $4,000 each week. That's been pretty much standard every single week for the last almost 18 months. Okay. Solid. So $4,000 a week. And that's so that people look at that, it's like, oh my gosh, Dylan, like, so I'm just going to break it down. I just brought on a new agent. Okay. Never done insurance before. Dude, literally just like he ran his own car business. He just washes people's cars. Okay. Or his staff wash people's cars. Okay. Never done it. It's like, Dylan, how do you making the money you're making? I'm like, I just do insurance. What do you mean? So he jumped in. He's like, okay, I'm doing it. Like, I'm just going to do it. My business is running itself. I'm just going to do it. So he's never done insurance before. I told him like, okay, look, just kind of get used to like how people are going to respond on the phone. Right. And then after the first week, I want you just to spend $1,000 a week in leads. Okay. First week was a little rough. Okay. But now his second week, he's already done $12,000 in AP in 1 week just from doing what I told him to do. So the problem is we as insurance agents, we come in and we just try to feel it out, see if it works.
Right.
Yes. We try to see if it works. And then we try to feel if it works. We just end up spending like $200 a week in leads. And then guess what? Is it ever going to work? No, it's not going to freaking work. There's no way in the world it's going to work because you're spending a very low amount in leads.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you might end up selling one policy here, one time in a month, or 2 policies there, right? I've always said that anytime you spend an amount of leads, let's say you spend $200, you can always plan on quadrupling your investment. That might take 3 to 4 weeks. So if you spend $800 in a month, you might sell one policy and you might end up, you might make $2,000 off of it. Okay, that's pretty close to the numbers. Okay, but you can't expect to make a lot of money if we're not putting a lot of money in. So he's investing $1,000, he made 12. And then now in the month, he's probably going to end up doing around 40, 45K in a month because he decided to invest.
Right.
So the people that scale from 1 to 2 end up doing like $1,000 to $2,000. They end up like usually doing around like 60 or 70. Right. And the people that end up doing like from 2 to 3 end up doing around like 80. And then the people who go from 3 to 4 will do over 100. Mm-hmm. And then it takes a really, really high level skill to go from, I think $4,000 is probably a good stopping point. Just for like simplified issue products. Okay. And $4,000 a stopping point that gets you to probably over 100. And then to get to like 200, which I did earlier this year 3 times, then you have to have like a really high level of skill and like understand how to sell higher advanced products for sure. So it starts off with that. And then you got to be really knowledgeable in sales. Like you got to be very, very good Like you can get to a certain level only being like average in sales, but you're never going to get the income you want to make. So there was something that Jeremy Minder said, and I always watch salespeople videos, and I'm like, okay, what happens if what happens if you only work 5 hours in a day, right? But you had more advanced skills than everyone. Okay, you probably match someone that has a 10-hour work ethic a day. And then he's like, well, and then I started thinking in my brain, okay, what happens if I have the skills and then have the work ethic and then have the investment? And I match all those three together, then it's going to create an unstoppable machine where no one's going to be able to do it because that's better, that's better, that's better. So then that's what I thought in my brain, and that obviously ended up working. So if I had to give one piece of advice to you guys out there, like practice your skills daily until you become perfect, right? And then number two, my advice would be to invest a large amount of money, because the more money you invest, the more money you're going to make.
Yep, 100%. I think there's kind of two sides to that coin. I think sometimes people just dabble, and trust me, again, I can't tell you how many people I'm like, come on, man, like just jump in, get your freaking pinky toe out the water, and just come on. And it's like, I think sometimes you see that because they haven't been shown the roadmap of, hey, if you do this, this is what you're going to make, right? To where, again, I see that a lot. And maybe, again, that's lack of leadership. That's lack of mentorship. I love that you said it's one of the first things that I do when we're going through onboarding is like personal and financial goals, and showing them, hey, based off of this and based off of this, this is what we need to do in order to hit this. And in order to hit this, this is what you need to do. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, it's amazing. You see their eyes. They're just like, it's like, again, it's the light bulb moment of like, damn, that's not that much. I'm like, I know. It's like,
it might not be that much, but then it might be like they might quit there. Right. Because some people, they might just be like, oh, that's too much for me. I'm going to quit. Like, I can't get there. Well, that's why you're working for a corporate job. Like, that's why you can never make the money you want to make, because you have that little, like, the mindset of like fear of investing that much. And that's hard. Look, I get it. Like, but there's always a way to fix the excuse, right? You might say, hey, I don't have enough money to invest $1,000 a week. Okay, great. You have a car? Okay, cool. Go ahead and drive Uber. Right? Go do DoorDash, go do Uber Eats, something until you make $1,000. You can make that in 3 to 4 days if you really wanted to. There's your leads. Boom. Okay. If you don't want to spend extra money, great. Now you got to figure out you're invested completely, and now you get to see if it works. Everyone always makes excuses, but that's another topic.
Oh no, and that's the other side of that coin, right? It's like, okay, hey, maybe it's not 100% on them, but then the other side of the coin is like, so I was telling you, I work with this company called CallSync. It's an inbound call platform, and we have it all. I mean, I see the deposits and people like my accounts or whatever. It's like, bro, what are you doing depositing $37.50 into the? I mean, it's like such a random low number. It doesn't even buy you, like, the lead is like $40 or something. And I'm just like, I mean, come on, man. Like, at least take 2 calls or something. Like, and again, they're using that sample size as a justification as to why it won't work. And it's like, bro, if you take 2 calls, it's never. No. You have not near what you need to look at in order to actually justify if it's going to work, right?
Yeah, it's like you have to get a larger sample size at one time.
Right.
You can't get a large, like, I guarantee you, if we took the person that spent $200 a week, and let's say that equaled $4,000, let's say you accumulated that over the next 5 months, and then you talk to someone who did $4,000 at one time, what will be the monetary difference of the person that person made versus 1 week or 5 months? I guarantee you to be the person that did it in 1 week versus the person in 5 months. Guarantee they make more money. Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I think then that is, which this is kind of where I want to. We've got about 12 minutes, 10 minutes, give or take. But then again, those moments like that are then when it's like, damn, I need to show other people this, right? So recruiting. Right. Obviously, you're starting to grow, you're scaling, you're talking about it. Hey, like, I'm literally bringing this guy on, he's going to be doing 40, 50K in a freaking month when he was, having somebody wash cars. So talk through that, right? What was that light bulb moment for you? Was it, okay, hey, now I'm ready? We talked about it earlier, right? Hey, I did it before, I'm going to go teach it. When was that time frame? Was there any hesitation? Has it held up? Because my biggest hesitation when I went full recruiting, right, and showing people the opportunity is like, man, that's going to directly impact what I'm writing on my own pen, right? Because if I'm spending all the time doing this over here, then that means I'm going to lose what I'm doing over here, but then that's what's making me money. But I know doing this over here is what also is making me money. And so I had and that was years ago now at this point. David and Elle Denning actually were the ones that finally, dude, just go all in. And I'm like, screw it. I'm not writing any business. I'm sending it to the team. hopefully they don't, botch it or screw it up. And I'm going to go all in on this recruiting side. Best thing I ever did. There was some hesitancy, right? Where it's like, man, that's potentially going to change my pocketbook. And ultimately it didn't. But so what were those moments for you? And then ultimately, how's it going?
Great. Perfect. So I started recruiting day one. Okay.
Okay.
Be like an automatic red flag in someone's brain about that. But I was like, okay, I see this business in two heads. You have recruiting and then you have production. I'm like, I want to make as much money as possible. So why wouldn't you try to recruit as fast as possible? That doesn't make any sense to me. So at the same time I was producing, I'm recruiting. Now, obviously it kind of gave me a month buffer because everyone was getting through pre-licensing because I finished mine in 3 days. And then, other people, it just took them a little longer. So I'm like, okay, I already got a head start. So I knew that I already got 50K over here that I had a way to teach them. Right. And then by the time I did 50K my first month, I had a lot of people already through licensing. So it's like, okay, now they just kind of follow my lead. We get on Zoom, we watch together, train them.
Nice.
They started to kind of learn from me a little bit. And then when I started to go, I'm not full-time recruiting yet because I can write 50 grand a week in my own pen, just like it's nice. Like it's like, I can do it. It's fine. So I don't really spend a whole lot of time writing 50K in a week, but I really, as far as I'm bringing on a team, I know like there's a lot of people out there that say, hey, Dylan, I want to join your team because you make a lot of money. Great. Perfect. Why do you want to make a lot of money? Okay. You sure that you want to do what I do?
Yeah.
An eighth of what I did, you still make a lot of money. Okay. And that's fine. Great. I want you to do what you want to do, not because what I did. This is your business, not my business. Okay. So we get to that place first. And then I really know the hardest part about recruiting for me is I think everyone, when they start they come underneath me as they're like, Dylan just has some magic sauce. Okay. I do have some magic. Like there is some magic, but quite frankly, I can't produce magic sauce until you start to pick up the phone and dial and put in more activity than you did the day before.
Yep.
And so that's probably been my biggest frustration is like, I'll have people that come on my team and they just like, Dylan, okay, Dylan, all you have to do is like buy $4,000 a lead, don't work. And then just like do that. And then, pick up the phone maybe a little bit. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like you gotta pick up the phone. So we're working through it. I mean, my team, our record month we hit this literally a year after I started. My team did over 450,000 in a month.
Awesome, dude.
Crazy. So now we're fluctuating. We have a lot of agents like we're bringing in from other IMOs. We're bringing in agencies that are coming underneath us. We're bringing in obviously the warm market starting to kind of flow in because they seem to be in a year and be successful. So, I think of what I envisioned this year, we'll do about 4 million total. I did 2 million myself, and then my team did, another 2 because I'm still young. Like I really didn't start recruiting till like hard, like really, really hard, like in April. So on average, when you're recruiting, it takes like 6 months to see a proper turnover from it. So we're really kind of in that mode of where we're seeing the fruit of it. I just brought up the #1 producer from FFL. So like it's really going to start to turn over. It's going to take probably another 3 months for it all to hit, but it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's rewarding because, what I want to get to. So I think
the hardest part, man. It could be the hardest part is you freaking want it more for them than they want it for themselves. And it's just like, it's always like to my detriment too. Cause I mean, I'm the heart guy, man. It's like, I freaking love everybody. And it's like, come on, man. And it's like, just gets to that point where like, I cannot want it more for you than you want it for yourself, man.
You can't. So next year we'll probably do about 10 million, maybe 12, and then we'll probably double from there. So we'll move in a good direction.
I think, one thing I like to bring up too, I know I shave too, so I look like I'm a baby, but I've been doing this over 11 years now. And different than because Captive was Allstate. It was just Allstate. That's there was a whole system for that, right? But when I came over to the independent side, there was not a system. It was like, hey, here's some contracts. And we're like, hell yeah. Like they gave us a contract and it was different on the PNC side. But literally like there was nothing. And it was like, all right, like go out there and figure it out and learn, right?
Right.
And for me, the one thing I always kicked myself for was waiting to bring people on until I learned everything, right? Yep. Not to say that you don't need to know the basics again in the products, but for me, dude, I mean, I spent my first 18 months, it was just me, my boy Hanky, and my dad. We're bootstrapping this thing, just cold calling, and that's back when you could still cold call and doing our thing. And it's like, man, why did I not bring
people in the back though? Like just say that louder for the people in the back. Like I hear that all the time, man. It's just like, why? Why do you wait? So
and there's power. There is power being in the trenches with them. Like they're like that come up story versus, okay, hey, yeah, now I am 2 to 3 years ahead of you. Good luck catching up. No, it's like, dude, we went through the freaking mud and the shit together, bro.
Yeah.
That is like, there's a lot of power in that I think I missed. And then obviously I've come back and recruiting is my main thing now, but still, like, gosh, dude, where would my agency have been if Joe's doing 50,000 a month off cold calls? Like, what if I had another 2 or 3 people that even could do half of what I could?
Yeah.
How much more does that now elevate my agency in that first year of renewals? And I know PNC is a little bit different, but
yeah, I 100% agree. I hate when I hear that because like it's like, hey, Dylan, I want to do what you do. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to go do this X, Y, Z, and involved with that as recruiting. Oh no, I don't. I just want to learn how to produce first. Okay, good. Well, you're gonna end up being broke, right? And then you're gonna end up quitting anyway. So what I tell people is the great thing about building a team in the beginning as you're learning, if you don't have the best mentor, is when your team is starting to write, that eliminates some chargebacks for you, so you're not stuck in the mud while you're learning the process properly. Mm-hmm. And I feel that from really a lot of people is they're stuck in the mud and they can't get out of it. And they just end up quitting because they can't make any money because they just constantly have chargebacks. But building a team at the beginning really helps with that. But at the same time, again, like you said, you're learning through the process. And it's better to go through the process with them versus, wait 2-3 years down the line when, you're way ahead of them and then you're trying to catch up and all the stuff. So,
right. And their feelings are different when it comes to roll-ups too. It's like, man, we've been working together, hand in hand for years. I can't roll this up to him. You just joined a team like, man, screw him, dude. I'll roll it up. I've had people contract with me and then like dude came and met me. I remember this guy came and met me in person twice. And like really wanted to be on my team. And this was when I was building on the life side. I was rocking with Wetmore with FFL.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, man, let's do it. He's local. I'd never really met the guy, but still I like met him in person. As soon as he contracts with me, within 48 hours, bro, I'm getting hit with like an $8,000 roll up from America. And I'm like, what is this? And it's like, Armando is gone. Never talked to him again, and it's like, well, you can't roll it up to John. So now I'm got stuck with the $9,000. But again, that's part of it too, right? And that was a lesson learned by me. Hey, I need to have a proper vetting process.
Yep.
Life insurance was new to me, right? It's like I didn't even understand the world of roll-ups. Like, I mean, I understand chargebacks, but not how it can roll up multiple uplines and shit like that, right? What for the recruiting piece? What do you paid sources, LinkedIn, like what all are you doing? I know obviously you said you got some more market, probably just, I mean, I don't pay for anything. I'm all social media type, people booking calls and going from there. Is that kind of where you're rolling?
Yeah, social media, man. As soon as I started social media, that was the greatest decision I ever made. It was just like really, I invested in a videographer and like putting all my stuff out there on social media. And as soon as I started doing that, like that really showed like, okay, Dylan kind of knows what he's talking about a little bit. And then I think people really just wanted to kind of buy into that. And since I started doing social media, like I would call it like a full-time thing. I've brought on over 80 people in the past 2 months just from just social media, just like putting out as much as possible. So
how many of them are sticking? Are they licensed? Are you getting a healthy mix of unlicensed? They're all licensed, or
I'd say it's like 80-20 towards licensed and unlicensed.
Right. That.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that are willing to obviously write a lot of business fast. So they're pretty much sticking. I think I've had maybe like 1 or 2 like just drop off, but everyone else is pretty much turned into consistent writers. So it's moving in a good direction.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I got one last question for you. I know you probably got an appointment to get to, knowing your ass on working the phones.
I do.
But real quick, how can people reach out to you? And then I got one last question for you.
Yeah, sure. So hit me up on the Insurance Athlete on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube. So The Insurance Athlete. You can plug that in there, and you can shoot me a DM. I'm pretty active, or I have my staff look at my DMs, and we'll set up the time if needed. And then I don't think I need to throw my email. I think everyone's pretty much got like a social media or something.
Yeah, I got it up in the description, guys. So you may have to click see more. And I'm not tricking you. There is actually more verbiage there to look at. But all of his handles are up there, so you guys can go follow him. Last question for you, Dylan. It's one of my favorite questions that I've started asking. And basically, in 5 years from now, what do you hope people say about you?
That's a great question. I said that a couple of weeks ago on our national call on our IMO about what do you want your tombstone to look like if God forbid something happened to you. 5 years from now, man, I hope people will say that I had a chance to impact them in a certain way where God used me to help change their life monetarily, but at the same time, emotionally and spiritually and physically. And if people can say that, then I know I've accomplished my goal.
Love that, dude. Love it, man. Well, dude, it's been awesome having you. I feel like we barely cracked the surface, so we may have to just run it back again too, man. Seriously, thanks for your time, bro. I know you're busy. I appreciate you. Thank you to all of our members for tuning in. Hanky, reading the Safeco manual. I do remember those days. But thanks, as always, everybody, for tuning in. Even if you're catching the replay, don't hesitate to drop those weekly wins or ask any questions. We will definitely circle back and assist on that. But without further ado, y'all, we're going to go ahead and close it down. Happy winning on Wednesday. It is the peak of the week, so that means it is not time to slow down. It is time to keep the pedal to the floor. And ultimately, let's just get out there and freaking put in some reps and practice, y'all. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday.